670 WFLA. I'm joined Stephen with Rent It Network, Mike Yates with Atlantic Bay Mortgage, and Roxanne with Vitale Homes. I'm going to talk to you about the local real estate market today. And I'm going to start off the first segment of the show today. We're going to talk about property management. And that's, Stephen Brown has been our property management partner. And you guys help a lot of our customers looking to rent out their home. And there's a lot of misnomers out there, but about property management and about people, whether or not they should hire a manager, whether they shouldn't. And then there's also a lot of first time landlords out there, that are saying, instead of selling my home and moving up, I'm going to move up, but I'm going to keep my asset and get some cash flow. So what are maybe some tips that you would give people that are out there thinking about renting their home out for the first time?
Well, I think first and foremost is you take the time to do your homework to learn the details of what it means to be a landlord. Very, very different dynamic when it's a home that you've lived in, you've made the decision to rent it out, and to transition from that owner-occupied mentality to a landlord mentality. And I would say that first and foremost, it is the quality of the tenant that you place.
Yeah.
And that, what we find is the number one thing that first time landlords struggle with. Yep, absolutely.
And that mentality is because the as an owner occupant, you have this, you almost have to change from thinking about it as your home to a business.
Exactly.
Your house becomes a business now, and it's a financial decision. But one of the financial decisions I've seen first time landlords make the mistake of is attempting to rent it too high and then eating months and months of their mortgage payment because they take too long to get it rented.
And in today's market, if it's sitting out there for any longer than 25, 30 days, you absolutely need to look at that. Yes.
Yeah, and so just to think about it in a grand scheme, if you have 2 months of not getting money in, to wait for your higher rent, you actually lost. You're not gonna recoup that. So it's better to maybe err on the side of if you've got a rent range, being a little bit more aggressive and lower on the rent range to avoid vacancy.
Exactly. It's really not different than if you're considering selling your home. The old saying that you can always go down, but you can't go up.
Yeah.
Same thing on the rental side. You've got to price it correctly, and if it's priced right, condition is good, it'll rent.
And when you say finding the right tenant, that might be something a listener out there might not quite grasp what a good tenant is. Rent It Network, you guys have a great reputation. The best property management website, hands down, in Tampa Bay. And so, what is it you guys want to see? What is it that qualifies as a good tenant for Rent It Network?
Well, there's a big difference, to your point, between placing a tenant and the right tenant. So we get calls every day from landlords who need help working out a situation with a bad tenant, right?
Yeah.
So it's about doing proper screening. You do not want to cut corners. You're better off taking the time to properly vet them before approving. And for us, we're looking at credit, criminal history, nationwide eviction search, employment verifications, prior rental verifications. We have minimum credit score guidelines and income guidelines that go along with that. And it's about doing the hard work up front and properly vetting the applicant before approving.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people and I think the next stage of advice would be, if you're a first-time landlord, hire a property manager. There are people out there that do manage their own properties and can do okay with it, but it's the same thing. Like, are you going to if you need brain surgery, are you going to operate on your brain? You're going to learn how to do it yourself, So there are people that can do it, but are they going to do it as well as somebody that's what they do every day and that's what they're trained at? So especially as a first-time landlord, hiring a property manager is crucial, and hiring the right one.
Well, and the right one is just as important, of course. Yeah. But you need to really look at, what do you want to be involved with as a landlord, as the owner? Do you want to get that 2 o'clock in the morning call because the toilet's overflowing, or there's an air conditioning problem? I mean, do you want to deal with that?
It's a time value of money conversation too.
It is, and when we work with an owner who has self-managed previously, usually within the first 6 months they come back and say, you know what, the time I'm saving and not having to worry about any of this more than offsets the expense.
Yeah, and I think again, when a lot of things, when you're talking about property management, for the time value of money or the return on investment are hard to measure. Like, would the property have rented as quickly? Would you have gotten $1,100 a month? Maybe, but maybe it would have taken you 30 days because you work 9 to 5 and you can't get there to show half the tenants the property.
Exactly.
You know, and that it goes unnoticed. It's hard to track, but I can tell you through, you know, having sold thousands of homes and having worked with countless customers that go down that path, and some of which say I'm going to do it myself. You know, they say, oh, I got to rent it in 65 days for the same money your property manager said. Well, yeah, well, they would have done it in 7 days. You know, you wasted 2 months. You lost 2 months of money.
Exactly.
You know, so that's what I think, you know, kind of goes unnoticed quite a bit. So thinking about, you know, one other point on that, I think this kind of goes along with our business model too. You guys specialize and do property management as your core business. There are a lot of real estate agents out there that kind of do jack of all trades, where yeah, I'll manage your property, or yeah, I'll sell it, or yeah, I'll help you buy. You guys are specialists. Your people that are doing property management, that's what they do, you know.
Exactly, and our team is a dedicated team. To your point, that's all they focus on. We have our own operations team internally that's acts as the main point of contact for owners, for tenants, for vendors. We have our own field team that focuses on property inspections, showings, move-ins, move-outs, and so on, and it is all that we do.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so we got Roxanne with Vitale Homes here, and I know, Mike, appreciate you bringing Roxanne onto the show, speaking about new construction. And, you know, kind of on a tie-in, it's kind of a surprise to see how many institutional investors and hedge funds are buying new construction and renting it out. I mean, we could do a whole show about that, but that's something that's kind of unique too.
And not just the institutional investors. We're
Yeah,
seeing
individual,
the small, mid-sized investors doing the same thing now.